Nerds and geeks, this is it. The long awaited, highly anticipated Nerd-O-Rama, fabulous nights of the Friday Roundtable breakdown, analysis, in-depth look at Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That's no applause, no cheer. There we go. We're just doing that. There we go. It is I've been getting several DMs, several texts and all saying, please, oh please, oh please, tell me the legendary Friday nights are going to get into Wakanda Forever and go all in. I know folks who don't care if they've seen it or not. They would much rather get this analysis even before going in. And damn it, we've got it for you. Yours truly, King Nerdificent Twala Sharp, back in the building. I see Ryan Twitch Bane. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, but from now on, call me the bald-headed demon.
Oh Lord.
Ryan, the bald-headed demon McBain. It still flows.
You better get that Twitch handle.
What it is.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good after watching this film. So Phase 4 has finally come to an end.
There it is. The one and only Mo Kelly.
Val Contessa fucks. That's all I know.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Clearly.
Twala got a lag.
Yeah, he laggy.
You got some lag,
Thomas
Twala.
talking Cunningham.
Hey everybody. I'm very pleased. I'm
right,
ready
look,
to get into this.
We'll get on this damn lag. And last but absolutely not least, Dr. Liz from the freeway.
Hello, everyone.
Riri.
Cause she got the Wakanda Forever hairstyle. Look at this commemorative hairstyle. I love the way it's swept away from her face.
Love it.
The better to keep crow crumbs out of her.
Only
hair.
Oh, no.
Did not break down within the first 2 minutes of this film.
Oh, Tom's trying to throw shade, but if you weren't a part of the Twitter conversation that I had with Mo, I have absolutely cut so that you can see what I said, and our listeners did respond to me to say that I was correct.
Okay, so
that he
first
was
of all,
going to be in the film, and actually,
it wasn't one just conversation.
Tom
it
was
wasn't
the one
just
who said
one
he wasn't going to
conversation.
be in the movie, and I was like, yes, he would be. So don't.
That was
there.
not. That was not your initial point. It was not
That
your
was
only
my
point.
initial point. That
It was.
wasn't my only
It was
point,
absolutely
but
not because
that was my initial
because
point.
it was in more than one episode.
Okay.
It was an ongoing thing,
Okay.
and your initial point before the trailer that showed Shuri's ass came out was that it was going to be Killmonger, and then after Shuri's ass came out, you said it was definitely Killmonger because there were gold accents on it, and Shuri would never wear a costume that had gold on it because that was Killmonger's costume. And I said they were both T'Challa's costumes. She made both of them for T'Challa, and that Killmonger just co-opted the one. You said no, she would never wear gold. You said that as well. So you can edit, you can selectively edit whatever you want.
You have to acknowledge the fact that you absolutely said that Killmonger would not be in the movie. And I
said Michael B. Jordan. I did say that. And his cameo as a dead character was about 2 minutes on screen, and he was
Does it
not Black
matter?
Panther.
Does
It
it
does
matter
matter
if he was
because he was not Black
a cameo
Panther.
or not? He was in the movie.
It was not
And
Black
I said
Panther,
he was
though.
going to be, and I acknowledge that.
You
I
said he
acknowledge
was
that.
going to be Black Panther,
I
and you said that the
acknowledge
best
that,
possible
but I
thing was that
also
he was going to be Black
acknowledge that
Panther.
you can't acknowledge that you were wrong.
Liz, how can you say
I already
that
said I was wrong.
You admit that you said that he was
I
going to be Black
acknowledge.
Panther.
I acknowledge I said
stop
two
saying that
things.
you were right.
One, I was right on one point. You can't deny that I was right on one point. I was wrong on one, but I was right on the other.
The big point is that you were saying he was going to be Black Panther. That's the bigger point. Being in the movie, that's a secondary thing. If he was Black Panther, of course he was going to be in the movie.
Oh my God.
He just wasn't in the movie as Black Panther.
Say that
at all.
You have never said, of course he's going to be in the movie. Actually, even Anthony.
No, nobody said, of course he was going to be in the movie.
Down with me saying that he was going to be. Yes, you did. You said he was not going to be in the movie.
No, I did. But I said that 3 minutes ago. You're the only one who's not copying to the fact that you said he was going to be Black Panther because Shuri would never wear gold accents in the suit. That's what you said. That's what you were 10 toes down on and 10 braids down on that head. I'm saying that you said he would be the better Black Panther. He was the person who should be Black Panther. The audience wanted him to be Black Panther. And what Ryan Coogler did, in fact, affirms my bigger point, which is he never should have been Black Panther because he was not the same character as T'Challa. And Coogler would never replace Chadwick Boseman with a character who was as evil as Eric Killmonger. That was my bigger point, not whether or not Michael Jordan was going to be in it. When Michael Jordan's name wasn't in the credits, I said, Michael Jordan is not in the credits. He's not going to be in the film. I said that. I am saying that assertively. What you have not said is, I said he was going to be Black Panther because I said Shuri would never wear gold accents on the Black Panther suit. You have not said that. You have not copied that.
Now that's my fourth time saying that. I said that I did say that, and I will admit that I was wrong. That's my fourth time saying it, but you keep restating something that you did not say. So stop it. You're coming up with a whole new thing.
No, I'm not. I said you were going to eat crow. I said you were going to eat crow if Killmonger was not Black Panther. And Killmonger is not Black Panther. And there's the crow cake, and it is real. The crow cake is realer than your assertion. But go ahead. Where's Tawala? Come on, Mo Kelly.
Okay, I'll keep going because we know that Tawala's had some issues.
Some tech issues.
Okay, now, I think I'm in the minority, so let me just go first, and then you can all tell me why I was wrong. I didn't love this movie. I loved portions of it. I loved the depiction of Namor. Absolutely loved it. I love the character arc of Shuri. I love the character arc of Okoye. I love the character arc and the acting of Queen Ramonda. She was fantastic.
Yep.
But the pacing of the movie for me was off. I'm still debating how I feel about how they depicted Riri within the context of this movie, but I'll live with that for a little while longer. But I didn't love the movie. I loved aspects of it, and I'm not sure whether I loved some of this movie because the rest of Phase 4 left me so wanting something better. But I don't think they could have done any better with Namor. I just don't. I don't see how they could have done it. I thought where this story is leading, the connectivity, the Easter eggs, the shout is basically saying, if you did not watch the Disney Plus series leading up to now, shame on you. Shame on you. And they're basically saying, you better watch Riri's story on Disney Plus going forward. So they're making it mandatory viewing for all of Disney Plus series. And I like that they're getting back to the connectivity. I did not feel, though, and I'm going to shut up now, I did not feel leaving the theater, even with the great reveal of, T'Challa Jr., that this movie was...
you couldn't have held that a little bit longer?
Well, no, you said don't watch this episode if you ain't seen Wakanda.
No, that's true.
Spoiler cast. We saying spoilers, the spoilers.
But who knows? Now, later, whatever. Great payoff. I'm just saying, as a cinematic piece, I did not think it was as great as the sum of its parts.
Well, I'll address one of the first things that you kind of touched on, which is about Riri. This movie was already stuffed. And since we know that Riri is getting her own Ironheart series, I did not mind that we didn't spend as much time on her, because I know she's going to get 6 or 8 or, however many episodes to really flesh her out when she only has to live with herself, where she can really explore, and probably there's going to be some consequences for the CIA. Probably there's going to be some stuff with the Contessa. Probably there's going to be some stuff with other aspects of it. And so given that we had to deal so much with the world of Khan and his city and what he was dealing with and his origin, because we got into his origin in a much more aggressive way than I actually initially thought we were. And I really loved that they tied in the slave trade into his origin. I thought that was great. I didn't understand when we were seeing in the trailer him walking out of the water into that burning building. Then we see that it's a plantation, and one of the things that offended him was that the people were enslaved. And I thought that the time we spent with Shuri's arc, the time we spent with Ramonda, until here is the next big spoiler, there's a consequential death, and it's bigger than Zuri, goddammit. When Queen Ramonda is killed by Namor, I absolutely thought that propelled the full third act into high gear, and I really enjoyed it. As we were talking before, Mo, it was like I was luxuriating in a bath. And I know I spent too long in the bath because my fingers were all pruned and fucked up. But while I was in the bath, it was warm. I liked the Calgon bath beads. And I could sit in that bath as long as the temperature didn't drop, because I really enjoyed it. I thought among the things that was most compelling about this movie was that this was really the most woman-centered movie in the MCU to date. Even though you had a title character of Captain Marvel, who was a female protagonist, her sidekick or whatever, the Maria Rambeau character, was barely in it. The Supreme Intelligence was barely in it. And so it was really Sam Jackson and her as kind of a buddy film. It was not the same. You had Ayo, you had Okoye, you had Anika, you had Nakia, you had Ramonda, you had Shuri, you had Riri, and you had the Contessa. You had Namora. You had, so many women characters, female characters that were essential to what it was about. And even when you look at the poster and you see it's 4 women in the most prominent positions. You got M'Baku on there, but right underneath it, you got the whole Dora Milaje. This is a very strong statement. And I hope it dovetails into a World of Wakanda series, which we have been promised. And I hope that is centered on the Dora Milaje and the Midnight Angels, with Ayo and Anika, perhaps, as opposed to Okoye.
All right,
Yes,
Ryan
indeed.
McBain, go ahead.
Well, let me tell you, I gave this movie a lot of leeway because, let's face it, Chadwick Boseman is gone. I mean, the movie's called Black Panther and he's not in it. So I was going to give it a lot of leeway. The movie just made me very, very sad throughout, in a good way. It brought out emotions in me that never got me watching any other MCU film. Not even close. Only thing that got me close to being really teary-eyed is when Tony Stark's daughter said she wanted a cheeseburger. That's the only time I got teary-eyed watching an MCU movie. This movie, I had to fight back tears throughout. I love the story. Namor was fantastic. The action was great. Yes, it was long. Did it drag a little? I mean, I can see that argument, but I just look at it as character development, because every scene I just ate it up. It was delicious to me. I loved it. Riri, I don't know a lot about the Riri character, but seeing this movie, I was gonna see her show on Disney Plus regardless. But I'm more interested now. She was hilarious to me. I found her very, very funny. M'Baku, I loved. there were things that I thought were going to happen in the movie that didn't happen, and it's not a criticism. It's just like I thought that in the spirit realm, we were going to get a CGI version of T'Challa. It didn't happen. I get why they didn't do it. It's fine. I respect that. In some ways, it's probably better that they didn't do it because I would have cried a lot louder if I would have saw T'Challa in the spirit realm. I thought possibly we might see Doctor Doom. Spoiler alert: Doctor Doom ain't in this motherfucker. He ain't in it.
He is not.
But there's some tentacles connecting to his world.
There are.
Perhaps. Okay, I'm cool with that. But this movie really stood on its own. It's just a really, really, really good movie.
Hey, Dr. Liz, I'm sorry, jump in. Oh, Dr. Liz, I'm curious about what you think about the introduction of Riri Williams because you have carried her torch as far as Ironheart coming to the MCU. She is now here, and I want your thoughts on the elder statesman in Baku. Did we lose you, Dr. Liz?
Oh, I'm here. I actually agree with Mo on the Riri Williams. I get torn back and forth because I think that Riri is so relatable, and I was trying to figure out like how they're going to bring in Tony. Because Tony Stark is so integral in her story, and I was like, you can either make Rwanda integral in her story, which is what I was thinking that they were going to end up doing, maybe misplacing, transplanting her completely. But that didn't really happen. And so I was like, okay, so since you are going to really still center her in Chicago, which I think is still a great idea, I do think that she has some throwaway lines. So it looks like they're going to go with the first origin story, not the second. There was a throwaway line where she said that she was off, that yes, of course it could fly. You don't watch my YouTube show. I have a whole following. And so I was like, oh, so they're going to go with the first origin story where she goes and she works on the weekend in Chicago to help combat gang violence. I was like, okay, so that's pretty cool. I'm really, I'm interested to see what her show is going to be. But at the same token, there are parts in it I'm not too sure of her depiction is what I loved. But I do like the connotation of taking her contraptions or the machines that she's making and using it with the CIA. The MIT has had a super long history, and they just even recently got a contract of working with the FBI, the CIA, and Department of Homeland Security. They just got a contract with Department of Homeland Security, recently, like last year. So, I could totally see this happening. It's totally realistic. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. I really like how Ryan Coogler is really trying to lean even more into being really confrontational with history. And so this this overwhelming group of white folks colonizing Black and brown folks all over the world is the thing that he is really hammering down. It leads me to think that his next movie is going to be where they absolutely are forced to come together because they are going to be attacked from America or something. It's going to be even more overt, white, westernized, coming in to these Black and brown people. But I thought it was kind of cool. Didn't know they were married, formerly divorced. I was like, wait, what happened here? This is kind of Val. Okay, whatever. I actually disagree though. I thought the pacing was it didn't make. I know that the movie was long, but I never looked at my watch. I thought the pacing was enough for me to where I was like, okay, so, and what's happened? I was like, okay, wait, it can't end this way. And so, I thought that was kind of cool. But I do think that for Black Panther to be so over the top male centered and for this to be so over the top female centered, I'm curious that for whatever reason, I will agree that it didn't leave me warm and fuzzy like the first one did. But at the same token, I did think that I can really see how this can be off-putting. I'm kind of stunned that they would put Shuri so center No wonder they were trying to get her to stop talking. Because I mean, the movie would have fell apart. But I'm interested to see what they're going to do next.
Dr. Liz, also the elder statesman M'Baku. What did you think of that character arc? How he moved from
I like him.
Just
he's hilarious.
The warrior to the wise men.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I guess they left it where he's the king of Wakanda now. That's the way I took it.
I took it too, and I thought that would be interesting to see as him as king. I mean, of course, he's. I mean, the pragmatic thing is career-wise, his career, it makes sense for him to be king. But at the end, because he's favored. But I thought that there's so many throwbacks to the first one. I thought that the scene of him becoming, of him challenging to become king of Wakanda, I thought that was a nice little throwback. I don't know. I thought they did a really nice job of respecting the memory of
Chadwick
Boseman. I thought it was really nice. Did you guys see? I know this is a side note, but did you see that Ryan Coogler has a writing credit on Rihanna's song?
I didn't know,
but it doesn't surprise me from a music industry perspective.
No, it doesn't.
And I know Tom would probably agree because they had to work in concert, like you would do a James Bond theme. Yeah,
yeah. It would not surprise me at all, just because the lyrical content of all of the songs was so intently tied into the storyline that it would not surprise me that was a grant of not a condition of inclusion, but it just so happened that Rihanna's looking at lines, she's looking at stuff, and if she's taking a line directly from the movie and it's something that Ryan wrote, then that would be manifest as a writing credit. That doesn't surprise me.
Did you also notice there wasn't as much music as I thought it would be? There were moments when intentionally I thought that there would be music.
Wait, let Anthony jump on that.
I thought there was more music in this one than in the last one, and the music played a key role in feeling the emotion.
There were a lot more lyrics. I thought in the music.
Dude, about that, okay, that totally reminds me. Like some of the best parts of the movie when there was absolutely no sound, no music. For example, when T'Challa passes away and they go to the title screen. My audience, okay, there's quiet and then there's like dead silence. You could hear a pin drop when you saw that title screen and you saw all those T'Challas. That's when I first started to get kind of teary-eyed. Another point I want to bring out is, I totally forgot to bring this up, I was surprised they just said that he had an illness. They didn't really go into detail what really killed him.
Right.
I'm curious about that.
I think for later.
Yeah.
I think so as well. My last point, because if I keep talking about this movie, I'm gonna start crying again. You think I'm joking? I'm being serious here.
I'm not.
Throughout the whole movie, I held it in like a man. I was like, nah, they ain't gonna get me. I ain't gonna cry. Not gonna do it. Until that mid-credit scene. When that little boy walked out and he said he was T'Challa's child, I was like, okay, you're not gonna get me yet. And then when he said his real name, Prince T'Challa of Wakanda, fucking broke me. I lost it. Tears running down my face.
Son of T'Challa.
That's right. He knows.
That's what he said.
But yeah. I saw that coming a mile away though. Like, I hate to say it, but
I didn't think he called himself like Junior. That's what got me. That's what broke me.
I had that feeling though for when she left and didn't come back for the funeral. Like, I kind of had that feeling like he's definitely has a kid out there, and that's going to be the big reveal.
I was talking to Tom about this last night. Now, so they're not going to recast T'Challa, but are they just going to age this kid to be
so this is
or what?
Yeah, this is, and I talked to you and Mo about this. Two things. One, Shuri cannot carry this franchise. Letitia Wright cannot carry the franchise. And so we've got 5 or 6 movies before there's going to be a third Black Panther. And I think it is inevitable when we've already seen from Ant-Man and the Wasp that the quantum realm has time travel and time advancement and all of that. It's either going to be exposure to quantum energy is going to age him, or Kang kidnaps him as a part of a plot point and he's going to be in the Chronopolis or whatever. And by the time the Kang dynasty is over, we are going to have a new T'Challa who is an aged up T'Challa
He
to
could be
carry
from the
on.
future and comes back.
That's what I'm saying. He's gonna be aged because Shuri can't do it, and nobody really wants that. What they want is somebody to be, I mean, right or wrong, whatever. Feige and Coogler played this exactly right. You didn't want to recast Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, but you have a new character who is related to Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, who is named T'Challa. And so it is inevitable that he is going to be aged up. They're not going to leapfrog and just leapfrog continuity, because people want to see the Black Panther with Nakia and with these other characters who already exist in the universe, and Okoye. That's what they want. And so it's either going to be a multiversal incursion or quantum energy, and he's going to be brought back in a flash when nobody even really misses him because of time travel, whatever. He's going to be brought back, and he is going to be grown up T'Challa, and he's going to be the guy to inherit for Black Panther 3.
Or small possibility that he might be one of the Young Avengers. I know he wasn't a Young Avenger in the comics, but that's also a possibility.
But see, again,
Anthony, hold on. Let me get Anthony in because I want to get his review of the movie, and then we can go from there. Anthony, two cubicles down.
So my thing, these actors, the front and center actors, were amazing. Every single one of them. The way you see Shuri deal with Chadwick's death in the beginning, how she buries herself in work. Ramonda is busy dealing with the head's estate. Every single one of them buried themselves away from his death. So their acting and how they portray that was great, all of them across the whole film. My only two gripes with this film are the CGI. Totally noticeable. It was bad during the whole Capitol attack. And the writing. It just did not like that aspect of it. I mean, Namor's whole point was to get the engineer who made this device and kill them. He literally had her in a cage, saw her in person, and just left her there as is. His henchmen had her. They did not kill her. Their mission was to kill her, and they did not do it. So this makes
he was torn. He was torn on that whole thing of killing her. I mean, he was trying.
He was not torn. His
goal, but see, I gotta
was to protect his people.
But I gotta push back on that, Anthony, because by the time he had her, the decision to take them alive when he could have killed him, it's because Shuri said, "Don't kill this girl," and they ended up. She went with them voluntarily. And so he was trying to woo her. He realized, because he was impressed with Wakanda, it's the first thing he said, this place is amazing. He was impressed by the fact that Wakanda could be an ally, and he gave the girl his mama's bracelet. He was trying to do what Namor actually has done in the comics all the time, find a young tender and ply his affections on her, because he knew it would be an incredible relationship, and he knew that killing that girl who Shuri was obviously invested in would not have worked.
He said he was going to kill her regardless, and his point was Wakanda is going to be either with us or against us.
But that was later.
But there was no in between. There was no in between for him. They were either going to ally with him or be against him. But his goal was to protect his people.
Yeah, Anthony, I think I have to push back on you on this too. I agree with you, but I think that when you enter Shuri here as well, he is also trying to think about how when she stood up to protect her. Because I think that if it would be different if it was like some old geezer that they probably wouldn't protect. But it's not. And so when Wakanda is taking the step to kind of protect her, I think that it threw a monkey wrench into him just going to kill.
No, he showed up in Wakanda and killed the queen. He had no problem doing what he was doing.
But he killed the queen after Nakia killed his subject, two of his subjects.
Exactly.
And he told her, if any of your ships come,
right.
if a Wakandan ship enters the ocean, not even my ocean,
No, just
not
the
even,
ocean.
he said the ocean, 70% of the goddamn surface of the earth. If a Wakandan ship enters the ocean, I'ma kill you. And that was also a negotiation that he was making with Ramonda outside of Shuri's presence, after Shuri had already, had done his thing. He was playing both sides of the fence. And when he got back, not only was his prize taken, but the scientist was taken too.
Well, now this is where
he delivered on his word to that
going
point.
Further down the rabbit hole on this one. This is where it brings in Atuma, because remember
it's not a tumor.
Okay.
He brought them.
Yeah,
to
he
Namor.
wasn't super Atuma.
He brought them to Namor, but then at the end you see Namora like, hey, why did you do this? And this is where it starts the whole, leading down the plot line of them trying to overthrow him.
Oh no, they were definitely.
Oh yeah.
I was not entirely sure that Namora wasn't going to stab his ass.
Oh right,
I was waiting for it. I was like,
yo, she does not have a good look on her face.
She did not have a good look.
Him sitting there doing the wall painting of himself with the Black Panther.
Right.
It was not sitting well with them at all.
Well, and that was one thing that I knew why they had to do it, because first of all, he can breathe. And he wanted wanted those scenes with Riri and with Namor and Shuri, and he didn't want to have the little masks on the face the whole time. But I was surprised that last interaction with Namora did not take place in the water, which is their natural habitat. I thought face. Right, yeah. And I thought it was really interesting that they ascribed the blueness of the skin to oxygen deprivation. I thought that was very clever, because when they're in the water, they have the same skin tone that they would have had on land, because their bodies are processing the oxygen. But when they're out of water, they turn blue because their bodies don't have as much available oxygen to them. I thought there were so many clever and subtle things that Coogler did in making this movie. There was even, I'm going to put up the picture of Ironheart again. In the costume design, you can see that it's not just the heart on her chest plate. There's a heart shape also on her face, and even those big wing pod things form a heart below the chest plate. It was just so many cool things. Here's, you can kind of see it a little bit better in the toy, but there were so many cool things that they did in this movie that were about the world building. They didn't lean. They did a lot of things that were very subtle and quick, but you can see where the momentum is going. And the thing that I really enjoyed about this movie that made me feel it is the best of the Phase 4 movies is that the tone, hold on, I got my position on this. The tone of it was more in line with the tone of the first Black Panther. And the first Black Panther was one of the more serious films. I mean, it was notably the only one of the MCU films to get a Best Picture Oscar nomination, and ended up taking 2 Oscars for costume design and for whatever the other thing was.
The costumes in this one was terrific.
Oh yeah,
of course,
but especially Nakia's costume in the third act. Mo and I were talking about that.
Oh my gosh,
it was not the costume.
Well, that's true. But it was the way the costume hugged it was certainly appropriate. I was not at all mad.
We got to get
Queen
Tina's
was
review.
just beautiful. Oh my god.
Yeah, Tawala, come on.
The fact that this film hit on every cylinder possible for me. This is a movie that succeeded where I had every, I believe, right to worry that it would not, because I felt it may have been too hard to bring all of those elements that the first Black Panther delivered on, as far as the emotion, the belief that we too can be heroes, the power of the Black Panther, every single thing that he managed to capture, and the emotion of a people at that time, which is what propelled that film to the heights that it did. I was worried about, that sequel curse. I was worried that we were going to get a whole lot of mess thrown in, and it wasn't going to be a complete story. And how are you going to tell a story without T'Challa?
Exactly.
All right. And this man succeeded beyond my wildest dreams. He gave us one of the most fantastic debuts of a character where you alter the character, meaning you change the origin and everything about Namor, and you make it make so much fucking sense. I cannot take it. The depiction of Namor, spot on. The storyline itself, spot on. The fact that this film is the first film for me since Avengers Endgame to hit on every single level that did. I fucking love everything about this film. I love the introduction of Riri, knowing that this film is a baton passing handoff to the sequel, which the creators behind Ironheart are saying that Ironheart is a sequel to Wakanda Forever, in the exact same way that, say, Spider-Man Far From Home is, or not Far From Home, but Far From Home. How Far From Home picked up right after the events, and it wasn't a series, but it took off right after Avengers Endgame, and the baton was passed, and everything that happened had direct effects and direct consequences in Far From Home. How Riri's adventure goes on. So you gave us enough of this character. You hit on a lot of the comic book elements that those who know the character and were introduced to the character in the comics and maybe even the cartoon would say, like, wow, I'm now into where this story is going. I did not think that Shuri would be able to carry the torch as the Black Panther. By the end of that film, I actually felt her emotion. I felt the story arc and the growth. I felt like, you know what? You are deserving of this role for as long as you have it, because as you all said earlier, they have given us the new T'Challa. We know how Marvel works. We know by the time we get to Kang Dynasty, that kid can be full grown and have been training, be ready to be the next Black Panther. And maybe Kang can do some time shit where he just advances. Cool, fuck it. Man, I wish I had something bad to say about this film. I fucking don't, man.
I gotta disagree with you, because when you say, we talked about this on the phone, we talked about Shuri carrying the film and also the mantle of Black Panther. This is where I kind of fell out of the movie, and I'm looking at it, it's like she never trained. She was a techie. She never had a fight in her life, and then she's going toe to toe with Namor. I know he was depowered because he was deoxygenated, but Mo,
that's actually not true. That's actually true. The fact that you have not seen her, because you saw her in the first film and all you saw them relying on is her mentality. I get that. That your introduction to her is just as the royal scientist, but Shuri was trained in every single martial art that there is known in Wakanda, because that is how the royal family is trained. Everyone, even Ramona, who was a former Dora Milaje herself, can get down. There is not a single person within the royal family who cannot throw hands. That is a gross mischaracterization of the character.
She didn't have to.
No. And
he was shooting hands.
She was shooting hands, and she still did her best to go up against someone like Killmonger, who was beating everybody's ass.
I think
that's not a fair fight there.
She wants to depend on technology. Look, I mean, that is her thing.
And
but
she
it doesn't necessarily
have to.
mean that she's untrained.
The whole point of her, she relies on technology. But make no mistake about this. Everybody in Wakanda can throw them hands. Okay?
Everybody. Please believe that.
I'm sorry.
You are not the dominant.
Right there.
You are there. Again, if you're going up against Killmonger, Killmonger did what, Mo? He also beat down a pack of Dora Milaje who were going after him. What are you saying? Yes, and when she tried to fight him, she also got
he relies on technology. But she's the princess of Wakanda. You don't think that she's not going to be trained to fight something?
Look, hey, Ryan, trained to fight? Yes. Is she a premier fighter more so than like M'Baku? No,
she's not, but she got the heart-shaped herb. That's why.
They should have. There's 2 movies. They should have given it to M'Baku. Honestly, 2
They-
movies.
No.
Well,
I
but
like
see,
M'Baku.
here's I thought they made exactly the right choice, both for Winston Duke and M'Baku, because what you saw was these nothing characters that nobody ever cared about on the council being totally shut down by M'Baku. Basically, M'Baku walks in and he's like, "Ooh." And then they're like, "Okay, fuck it, let him talk." and he made the most sense out of the whole shit.
He did.
And
He
then
was the one.
at the end, when he sits there and he comforts her after Ramonda's murder, and he has some very wise things to say, and he tells her straight up, he's not devious, M'Baku. He's not, I'm a fuck you behind your back. He's like, look, they're telling me, they're kind of trying to get me to step up. What you think? And and then when she came in as Black Panther, he was like, she did it. She fucking did it. Let's go. And even when she told him, don't you think my mother's death is worth eternal warfare? He agreed with her and stood with her and backed her. It was only at the very end when it doesn't look like, she certainly wasn't in costume anymore. She certainly didn't have the necklace anymore. She was in them torn ass jeans walking to the beach to see the last Chadwick Boseman montage. When it seemed as though he was saying, Princess Shuri is not with us. And then he dropped the bomb, I want a challenge.
Yeah.
And to me, that was exactly the reason why I say we're getting T'Challa. Whether or not baby T'Challa is aged up and has to fight M'Baku or whatever, I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know that we need to see that fight again.
Have to.
M'Baku
can be the king of Wakanda because the Black Panther is just a protector of Wakanda.
And that's true too. Because he doesn't have to have the herb, and from the comic books we know that the herb had an affinity for the royal family. If you weren't of the royal family, it could mess you up. And so I really thought that Shuri didn't need to be the star of this movie because we had another star, and that's Namor. He was the character we were following in the same way that Killmonger was a person that some people in the audience who were impressed with his pecs and his body scarification and his teeth size were enamored of Michael B. Jordan. You had Namor, who was super powerful, had a compelling argument to make, rooting for the underdog, and his story and his arc was the focus. Shuri was there. We were following Shuri too, and we were following Shuri and Riri, and we were following Shuri and Riri and Ramonda, and Shuri and Riri and Ramonda and Nakia and Ayo and all of those elements. Okoye. I tell you right now, if we were doing Oscars off single speeches, that speech of Ramonda in the throne room.
Yep.
Yes.
That speech was incredible.
The trailer really, all these trailers that dropped were all, they put them together so well to be so off. And so when you all were like, I don't want to see no more because it's going to spoil it.
Yeah.
They put it together in spaces where it was like, it did not spoil anything. Because the movie was a
entirely different story than the trailers. Entirely different story.
About M'Baku, like, I love him because I find him funny. But what really like made me go like, oh dude, this dude's deep. When Shuri said, well, you thought like I'm just a child. When he said you've lost too much to be a child anymore, I was like, okay.
No, we agree. He showed the wisdom of a king.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Legit.
At least we forget he is the ruler of his people. He's not just some dude. He does rule the entire well, I don't want to call them 8 people, but dude, he rules the whole tribe. He is
I know is this.
He is the king.
Yeah, he's not a bad ruler. He's not running it like it's a
no, he isn't.
Over there.
No, he's not running like it's Twitter. Yes, we know.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely different. He's definitely different from the comic book Man Ape, who was kind of a dickhead. So
All I know is this: from now on, whenever I disagree with someone, I'm just gonna be like, "Ooh, ooh, 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 ooh."
By the way,
But when
we
he
have not talked
sunned
about
those River Tribe dudes,
Yeah.
So did.
he
Oh, man.
sunned the hell out of them.
We eat like a Slim Jim or some shit. What the fuck
It was a carrot. It was a
What's
carrot. Yeah, it was a root vegetable. They're vegetarians.
That's true. Yeah.
That was some of the most gangsterous shit I ever saw.
The thing that I appreciate so much with Ryan Coogler as just a director, writer, like, I mean, he's going to get my business all the time, is when he had them in Haiti. I was like,
Yeah.
and then when you name him, when you gave him his name,
Yeah,
I was
Tucson.
like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
talk.
Right.
I was so excited, and afterwards, like, I'm like, okay, so do you know who this person is? Like, let's talk about who this person is going to be. And I just really appreciate it, so in your face, that it makes it very, very difficult to ignore what his position is on. He's making statements.
Oh, he's very, very much making statements, and it's, I applaud Disney for having the courage once again to 100% back the hell out of this film, to get out of the way and say, look, man, make your movie. This is the cherry on top of this last phase. This is the last film. After this film, we're kicking different shit off, right? This film is the most consequential film in this phase of the MCU because this film sets the foundation of where we're going with films. Everything else has happened. Everyone's gotten over the blip, and everyone's gotten, over all the trauma and all the drama and everything else that's happened. This film right here was a healing point. This was a healing point for the characters within the Black Panther world, but also within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There was so much being said about grief and about pain and about how you overcome that and how you're dealing with it. They were speaking on so many different levels, the political implications from the very beginning when Ramonda comes into the UN and she just shuts shits down, brings in the soldiers, calls folks out, says, you, the French, you all try to invade us and I see you. Do it again. I won't be as nice as to bring your people back alive.
Can you imagine though, like, what name he will go by? Because either name, T'Challa Jr. or Toussaint, I mean, both of those names just, and and it also roots into kind of where Ryan Coogler was from, and this notion of the unification of acknowledging the pain that and the colonization, the effects of colonization on Africa, South America, and Haiti. It's just wonderful.
I can tell you something right now. That little boy that approaches Ramonda when she arrives at the school, that's T'Challa. That little boy who says, are you looking for the director?
Was it?
It was. I watched it again. I watched it twice.
Oh.
Yeah, it's him.
It's T'Challa. And it was just so simple. And the kid is adorable. He's
just like Chadwick Boseman.
Adorable.
He has the same mannerisms and everything.
No, it was inspired. And again, we had moments in the movie where the audience just like spontaneously broke into applause. And like you, Ryan, there were moments where it was also dead silent. So when he died and Ramonda comes on screen and she says he's gone or he's with the ancestors, audible gasps. And then it goes into that silent opening credit that's all Chadwick.
No
and
music,
people just started clapping
right next
when that came on.
It was
they started clapping, and then the laughs, unlike Multiverse of Madness, unlike Love and Thunder, the laughs weren't forced. When he said that bold demon, and people laughed, and when she punched the thing and Nakia and Riri were like, shit, the audience just laughed because it was real. And this is where I think I disagree with you, Anthony, about an earlier point you made about the writing. I found the writing to be Shakespearean. I loved how things developed. I loved what he was doing. I loved the fact that Nakia broke when she was trying to admit why she couldn't be there, only to reveal later that Ramonda fucking knew why she wasn't there.
Yeah. It was so intentional.
There was everything about it, and you could feel the love pouring off the page. Huh?
There was never any animosity about her not being there.
Yeah, there was.
Well, no, Ramonda. I mean, she made a point of saying you were missed. You were missed, but because she knew why she had left, she didn't press it. She wasn't going rage about it.
Chastise her. She just was like,
but that's what I'm saying. You were missed.
You were missed. But there was no animosity about her not being present.
But when I watched it again,
she knew why.
Yeah, but when I watched
brought it up as well.
Sherry, but when I watched it again, that the moment where you first say Neymar, you could tell, that conversation. Now you know what he was actually trying. She was actually trying to tell Sherry to try to make her not feel as upset,
right? About to feel the extremity of the loss.
Right.
She was going to say what I can need to tell you about your brother is that he got a child. Yeah. He got a child by that girl, and so you don't need to worry because he's still here.
Let's not forget this as well. Ramonda, when she was telling Shuri, like when she did the ceremony with burning the clothes, that T'Challa, showed up. Into the movie, T'Challa shows up. Great callback. Let's not sleep on that.
Yeah.
No, it was.
I also feel like that right there, like that moment, like the mother and daughter moment, the wiser, figure. She's been through this heartache. She knows how to address it. And Shuri, being as young as she is still trying to figure out how to handle those emotions. That's why, she was still battling it. And Ramonda had kind of like accepted it, knows that they're on the plane, the ancestral plane, and that they will be reunited again. She's accepted it.
Yeah, but she also knows that her
Shuri
son
isn't.
Yeah, but she also knows that she has a grandson. And I think that Shuri would have digested this a little bit more, because if she would have known that a piece of him was still here.
Right, because she was talking about she would burn the world and everyone in it because she didn't know she had a nephew. And the thing that was interesting to me about some of the choices that were made in regards to the way that the script was structured, this happened, T'Challa's death basically happened right after Endgame. It was right after. Ramonda lost him. She aged. Shuri didn't age because Shuri was snapped. So Ramonda had all this time to process grief of her son being gone. And then he comes back and then he's dead within a week because we fast forward and it's a year later. The boy was not snapped. The boy was 6 because she was pregnant right before Infinity War. The kid was born during the snap. And then he was gone basically almost immediately after Endgame.
I know this is going to sound petty or however you want to take it, but also Shuri had to, I don't know if she addressed the loss of her father. Remember, he dies too. He's killed by Zemo. And then she loses T'Challa. So now
Killmonger directly says that. Yeah, Killmonger was disparaging T'Challa's choice about letting Zemo go.
And then Ramonda. So she's compounding all of this grief, all this trauma that she still has not addressed.
And I think that's why she made the choice she did.
But
that's why Killmonger showed up.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. That's why she saw Killmonger, because she had all, your state, you go through those 7 stages, and she probably had all that anger bottled up inside. Like, this motherfucker just killed my mom. And who does she see in the astral plane? The person who's going to manifest that energy, that anger, is Killmonger.
And you kind of bring into the astral plane what you take with you, which is why when Killmonger went to the astral plane, he showed up
went to his dad's apartment.
Kind of reminds me of Empire Strikes Back. when
You
Luke
know.
went in that cave.
Yeah.
True though, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But there's one
He's
thing
right.
I think people have missed. Because Shuri was snapped, all the deaths happened in a shorter amount of time.
For
Mhm.
her.
For her, yeah.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah,
we're
and-
talking
and-
what, maybe 3 years from
Maybe, yeah.
from her
Civil War,
experience. Yeah, from her dad's death to
almost instantaneously for T'Challa.
and then a year later for Ramonda. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a year
But
later.
still,
from
when she even in the Wakandan tradition, that year of mourning was just over when her mother was taken for her. So it's just like body blows. Just right when you think, right when that leg is beginning to heal, you get in a fucking skiing accident. And the shit's just broken in a new place. It was all of that. How they introduced her turn to the dark side. And here was another thing I really, really appreciated about it. In the comic books, Black Panther was like Batman in terms of having countermeasures. He was like that dude. Like you couldn't get around. He knew how he was going to neutralize you. And I loved seeing how Shuri and Riri developed their initial plan, how they put that big ass warship together and they said, we need to defeat them. They're going to be sensitive to, okay, so wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. We're looking in the chat right now. James Wright posed a question 30 minutes ago. He said, so is anyone going to remember Black Adam after seeing this film?
Nope.
But wait,
Who?
Anthony Kennedy says, yes, I dare say BA is a better film.
Fuck out of here.
That crack you're smoking is yeah.
But what, but that brings up my
We
issue.
don't do that here.
That brings up my issue that I really, really like. When you all were talking about how, trying to breathing in and out of water. And the thing that this is how you do it, DC. Not the Aquaman trying to figure out how this worked. These air bubbles that you guys keep popping up and then they speak in air bubbles all over. Like, how does this, this is how you make this sense. Make it make sense. And I appreciate that. But the one thing I don't like about it, I did not understand how they get killed. So there are moments where they get killed, and then there are moments where they didn't get killed.
She put a spear through him.
We
and
need
he walked
to make
it off.
We need to make this consistent on you. First, the shooting, okay, so that one dies, but then the spear stuff doesn't kill you. Like,
well, I don't know, Liz, but look at this though, and I feel you on that. But if you look at the end of the film, even when they're knocking them down, they're stabbing them. These individuals that were, especially when they're falling in the water, even when Ironheart was going through blasting folks, I don't know if we ever really saw any of them die outside of the one who died that Nakia shot with the up close.
She shot both of them.
Well,
I think both of those people died.
The weapon that she shot them with, she explained in that moment,
it was a sonic rifle.
It was a sonic rifle, and she said the impact alone basically would kill us. And I would think that might be the same thing that Claw used, which was destroying cars and everything. But that's why I think that she was able to kill them, because everyone else that was on that ship, all the stabbing and slicing that they were doing, they were still outnumbered, 50-5 in the end when they were sitting on the edge, like, we all about to die. Remember, all of them died. All the Wakandans damn near died on that ship.
Yeah.
The people from Taklan, they were good. They
really
jumping
were.
in and out of that
because
water.
They're superhuman, and
many of them died. Yeah.
That was another super smart thing to do by tying the vibranium. I mean, because that was a hanging chad on Coogler's film. All of that heart-shaped herb was done.
Yeah.
And so the only way to do it was to have the Taloclan, whatever, the fish people got their fishiness from their version of the vibranium enhanced vegetation, and that she was able to reverse engineer it. And I love the model, the big model, and she clicks it and everything turns green and it's 98.7%. And she prints the herb, and then now they've got lots of herbs. And so now we know that the herbs are there and everything's cool and blah, 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 blah. It was
They answered
fucking
every
smart.
single question that going
really
into this
did.
film, every question that we had. It's very rare that we have seen within this last phase of films. We have not seen any one film answer all of our questions. Every film we have either been told that so and so is going to be back, and I guess we'll get the answers in this film. This film took everything that happened in the first film, looked at everything that's been going on in the world, and said, I've got the perfect sequel. Believe me, I love Chadwick Boseman probably more than any of you who are out there bitching about me not putting him in the film. Watch what I do, though. Just please bear with me. Watch what I do. And when you walk out of this theater, you will say, got it. Good. I'm straight. Every question, I'm like,
he nailed it.
Oh, we're good now. We are.
The only question
good.
I had is, what was the illness? What was the illness that killed?
You know what?
I
think we've been led. I think we've been led to believe that there was a consequence of
the snap,
how he was revived with the heart-shaped herb. Because he was in a coma, and they gave him the heart-shaped herb. And the heart-shaped herb, you're supposed to be healthy. It has these restorative powers, but he was in a coma. He was damaged, and then they didn't have more to give him.
Yeah,
that's what she was scrambling for. She was trying to get more, and it was only a 20% herb, and it wasn't going to work. And by the time she even tried to print it, it wasn't doing it, and then he died. And so I think we're to understand that there was some sort of complication with, because it was immediately. He fought, he was unsnapped, he fought, and oh no, that's not true, because he was in Infinity War and had been alive again by the time of Infinity War. He had been fine for a good long while.
But there's no telling how long it
wasn't that long.
No, but to Ryan's point, I was touched by them acknowledging the real fact of him dying from an illness. And though we found out later, what it was, but I love how they handled that comparison, that real life comparison of we lost Chadwick Boseman due to an uncurable illness. He died from an illness.
Life imitating art.
Exactly.
Vice
So,
versa.
and them saying that, we, by them also struggling and acknowledging the fact that the reason that they can't save him is because it was something that relied on the purity of the heart-shaped herb. The AI was saying, they were saying, unfortunately, without the heart-shaped herb, we don't know, if we're going to be able to do this. And she's scrambling, trying to use science and technology and everything against the law of life and of nature. And them, I was like, this is what you're doing in the beginning. My heart can't take it off.
That's what broke my heart, because
it was incredible.
Eventually, at the end of the movie, they find the cure that would cure him. I mean, I understand. Yes, the actor dies. Yeah, but the fact that they had the cure that would have healed him, that made me more emotional. It made me bittersweet. It was broke me as well,
dude. Like when they were replanting them, it broke me again when I saw them in the circle shape that the new heart-shaped herb garden was planting, and its proximity to the sea and everything, just the connectivity that they made between these two tribes that predate the foundation of modern science and everything. With the fact that we get the very first mutant by name.
He said
like
I'm
dead, and I've been here for like 400 plus
I'm a mutant.
I've been here, homie. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm just so happy for this team. I'm happy for this team and everyone that's involved in this film, because it's a triumph. This film is a triumph and undeniable success in light of all of the films. Half of us may have liked some, half of us liked others. There's some of us who didn't like any one of a particular film. This is one film where there is nothing that you can point to in this film that reasonably could say this film is not good. This was an unqualified, unmitigated success that proved to me the power of Marvel and them backing their creators and them saying, you know what? I believe in you. Do your thing.
You know what? The best, one of the things that I enjoyed the most is the use of language, the consistent, you know, the many different languages,
Yep.
trying to make sure that there is a distinction between Spanish and the indigenous language. Like I enjoy, and then the notion, you know, and the use of French throughout. I mean, you are absolutely, and the fact that they made sure that it was not less, like, we don't want to translate, we'll put it in a, you know, some of it, not all of it was even written in the captions, but trying to have that level of distinction, I thought that was really useful. I love the use of silence at times to make you really sit in the moment. I just thought that it was just well crafted.
I loved how they used Wakandan as all of the super titles and translated everything from Wakandan into
it was great.
The location that they were, and just that the native Mesoamerican language, I don't know if it was Mayan or Aztec language, but that was in blue.
Yes.
And you know, it was just so smart, and I loved how they tied the origin to those people who were escaping enslavement. Basically, it was just so well done, and absent some of the problems, I didn't find the CGI as distracting because I found most of the CGI in this.
It didn't bother me.
It was.
Then again,
it was a lot of ships.
After seeing She-Hulk, man, anything's better than that.
Well,
so.
but I think, you know, to the point, the only really crazy CGI on the Black Panther was that 35-second sequence where she's running around the ship, and there was a lot going on in that moment. And so I didn't really mind that. I thought Namor and the hummingbird like speed that he was zipping around and doing stuff. And let me tell you something. You talk about badass moments in this bitch. When she grabbed his goddamn foot wing and ripped that shit off, and he was like, "The fuck?" And she was like, "No, bitch, I got your wing."
Right.
And then he was like kind of hobbling, trying to half fly to her ass. I was like, this is fucking real.
On that one.
When she said, "What's wrong? You need some water? Got some water?"
And then Wakanda Forever and blasted his ass. I was like, see, this is what I appreciate, because she had plans on plans on plans. She knew he was smart. She knew he was strong. She knew she couldn't compete with him physically, but she was absolutely driven. And when they did the parallels between her seeing her own people and her being in Talokan, and then her seeing her mother, and then seeing the Talokan mother, and then, you know, seeing all of that stuff that they did, that it was kind of quick. It was a quick flip for her, but it was rightly predicated on her vision of Ramonda finally coming to her from the spirit plane. And it was absolutely authentic.
But
show them who you are.
The G move that she did was when Namor puts the spear right into her.
Oh, she snapped
that bitch and walked it off.
And walked it off.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense, but that is
but no, you know, and
right,
here's the thing, Anthony. When watching it in IMAX Super Laser, when you hear the suit mending the wound,
that's what it was.
Yes, because
that's what it was. The seat, it sewed it up.
Like, you hear it happening as she's pulling off. You hear this, and I'm like, that level of just thought into how you're not bleeding out right now, and the fact that the suit has the whatchamacallit bead technology in it.
Yeah, the Kimoyo bead.
The Kimoyo bead technology in it already, because it comes from that. I'm like, F yeah, like, go ahead, Shuri, with thoughts upon thoughts and already being ready for it. And I like how it wasn't just, okay, I took the heart-shaped herb and I can fight, because it's like Namor is still Namor. He was still, even after being dried out, he just think if he hadn't been,
oh no, it would have been a wrap
into dirt, right?
Your ass, yeah.
They made that fight. But by depowering him and us seeing like we showed you him depowered and him still being able to whoop ass.
Right.
But she was no pushover, because she's got the heart-shaped herb that gives you, heightened strength and senses and all that. that battle was fantastic. Little things like Anika and Ao.
Io at the end.
One, how they explored that relationship, which I'm like, yo, that's dope. They were the Midnight Angels, bringing them out. I like how there wasn't a betrayal within Wakanda.
Right.
There was a lot of reports and a lot of writing
that
had the Anika character as a betrayer, and they're like, nah, she's just a badass.
But that was the thing that
whatchamacallit.
Annoyed me is when Contessa and what's his face, they're sitting around the table, the CIA, and like the president wants to strike Wakanda and they want to destabilize Wakanda. Like, yo, you ain't doing that shit.
Yeah,
that's not
gonna work.
But
That's not
that sounds like America.
Yeah. And
Oh no, it definitely sounds like America. It's just not gonna work. But that's one thing that they definitely demonstrated. Without Talokan attacking them, Wakanda's still whipping anybody's motherfucking ass. And I know that we're running long on time. We haven't talked about the box office. $28 million on Thursday, which is $3 million more, unadjusted for inflation, of course, than Black Panther, that went on to have a huge opening weekend. They are saying it was a $202 million opening weekend for Black Panther. They're saying that this one could go 185 to 200, possibly, which would make it the biggest opening of the year if they do beat that, because Multiverse of Madness was 187 million. What are your predictions? I felt that this being Veterans Day meant more people would be in theaters watching this movie. What do you guys think it's going to come in at the 185-ish area? Do you think it's going to? Because I remember last time, Mo, with that exec was there, and I said, if you give me this poster, it's going to open more than 200 million. It's right here. I still have it.
Yeah.
And it opened. What do you all think?
This film has every potential to hit 200 million. And I say that because the word of mouth to a person is through the roof. That every single, people are standing up, clapping. The tears are unanimous. The feelings for this film are unanimous. I'd say 90% of the people who see this film in these first 3 days has the potential to propel this film. When all is said and done, I'm going to say 1.5 billion.
The problem with the fact that this movie is so long means that you don't get to have as many people, you don't get to as many runnings unless you do what they did for Black Panther, the first one, where the whole theater was playing Black Panther, which that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
They had, I can tell you, they had 5 screens at the 3 AMCs that I saw, because they were literally running this bitch on the half hour.
Yeah, but there are more screens coming, and it's unfortunate because there are other movies that are out here. Black Adam being one of them.
But you know what?
But it's not. But nobody is trying to go see these things.
But
the other competition on the 18th, there's a couple movies I actually want to see on the 18th coming out. But who cares?
Yeah, no.
This is going to take
good
over
thing is, Liz,
until Avatar.
Is when the movie theater executives, and this is AMC, this is Regal, they both heads of those theater chains, they went on record in, I believe it was Variety magazine, and they both said the thing that we are waiting for as theater owners is Black Panther. This is knowing full well that Avatar Way of the Water is coming out after. They did not say we're waiting for Black Panther and Avatar Way of the Water. They said we are waiting for Black Panther. They both had it laid out how they have humongous rollouts in theaters, how they have, standing areas for you to take photos. They are relying on this film to take them through the end of the year. They're relying on this film to make the box office for the end of the year solvent with Black Panther. By the time Avatar Way of the Water comes out, theaters, if they are running like they're supposed to, they will be showing in the majority of their screening rooms Black Panther, and then some Avatar Way of the Water, the same way where you had Black Panther taking over the majority of the box office, and you had Shazam, the first one, in other theaters.
One of the problems, that's why what's so interesting too about Avatar is that as much as they're throwing all these ads out, there's I'm actually kind of surprised that there are not as many print spaces. Just to reiterate your point, Tawala, for it to be coming out, isn't this coming out like the end of the month?
December.
Yeah. Yeah.
Early December. There should be
No,
there should
the
be
16th. It's a full month away from
Oh,
here.
oh,
But
okay, yeah, we're
there
good.
should there usually, I mean, for the amount of hype that they put around Black Panther, completely. I'm not saying that it's not the same level of hype. I mean, I actually
Mhm.
don't. You know, part of the problem I think still with Avatar, of the many problems, is they've waited astronomically too long for
Yeah,
this,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
to where, you know, there's a generation of people who've been around walking this earth who don't understand why this movie was such a big
Like
deal.
seriously, Avatar's 25 years old.
Is it? Is it
No.
really? No, it's not that
No.
old.
Look it up. I believe Avatar is about
at
20
least
to
20.
25 years old.
It did
No,
not come out
it's
in
not that.
2002. Came out in like
Did it?
08 or 09
It's at least 20
That's-
years old.
or
It's
10.
It's
Sometimes
2022.
Hold
though.
on.
It didn't come out in
Uh,
2010.
Okay, no, okay.
No,
So close to it.
2009.
2009.
2009. It's 13 years old.
Okay.
Avatar?
It's still too young.
Avatar is 13 years old. I'm looking at it right now. Now, the other part is
Oh.
that there is nothing. There is no guaranteed big release. There are movies I want to see. I want to see
Mhm.
Devotion with Jonathan Majors. I
Me
do want to
too.
see
I was
that.
just
Yeah.
going to address that.
But-
He's got a Killing coming up soon. 3 films.
But right. But there is nothing.
Avatar.
There's nothing between now and the end of the year except Avatar. That's it.
Mm.
There's nothing else that is an event film. There's nothing else that is a must see. Ray Fiennes in the menu, and that looks cool. I like the idea of the menu.
Yeah, unfortunately,
but
no one's
it's-
going to see none of that. No one's going to see any of that.
It's gonna be.
I am going to
it's-
see Devotion though.
I will see Devotion. I
Yep.
will, because it's a Thanksgiving film. I will see it over the Thanksgiving weekend. I will have seen Black Panther, Wakanda Forever enough times that I don't need to see it anymore. But
And
I
I'm
will
gonna
probably
see
see it
Will
again over
too.
Thanksgiving. But
Yeah,
but that's
we'll see
it.
Slave
And
movie.
I will see Way of the Water just because the visuals. I didn't hate, Fern Gully in space, all that bullshit. I didn't hate Avatar. I saw it twice in the theaters.
Never
I
saw
it in 3D, and I saw it in regular D.
3D is actually
and
pretty decent.
It
was actually pretty
is.
decent.
And I just think that James Cameron waited an awful long time for a movie that looks substantively the same. The creatures look the same. They don't look like tremendously upgraded, which is not a bad thing because the
But
CGI in
it's
the first
also the
movie was
exact
really
same
strong.
story. It's literally
Well, I don't.
the
Do
same
we?
story.
Do we know what the story
No,
is?
because the story is this time around.
It's in the water.
No. It's no. It's not just that.
Homeboy's
It's
in-
just in the water. It's
Homeboy's
that
a Navi now.
Jake has to lead his people from the Force tribe away because of the onslaught of people, and now he has to go to the water tribe and try to win them over and damn near become the Chakta of the water people. Damn
See,
near the same
that's
story.
the one thing I really did not like about Avatar. The one white guy got to come and save all the blue
He is
people.
going to become
Pocahontas.
he's the
Yeah.
exact same character in this film. He is the
Dances
one
with
who
Wolves.
who has to win over the neighboring tribe who has an entirely different way, and they're going to explain a whole new way of people, and we commune with
way
the
of
water
water.
and this, that, and the other, and he's going to try to win them over. There is word that Zoe Saldana's character dies in this film, and it's about Jake and his daughter and him bringing her up, and she's also an outsider now, having to
But
get down with the water people.
But how can he? Does he just did he just abandon his human
did.
body and he
Yes.
just lives it? He
Yes.
just lives in the
He was-
thing.
He did that
So
last
who
He was
is
movie.
downloaded into his avatar.
He did
so
that
who
last
is the
movie.
little
Or
who is the little
uploaded.
girl
The little
who's
girl
running around
is-
who's human?
the little girl that we see, that is his daughter. That's him and what's her
Technically,
name's
it's his
daughter.
brother's daughter because he's in his brother's avatar. Remember they said
Oh,
that?
is that what it is?
No, well,
She's
so-
not a hybrid. She's not a hybrid human Pandoran. She's just a human person that existed
No.
before.
No.
The body that they had was his twin brothers who got
Right.
killed.
Yeah.
And they said that they're meshed, so technically it's his brother's body. And brother Avatar did it with natural Avatar, and they had kids.
But wait, why is it look like a human then?
Oh no, that's the hybrid kid.
That's the hybrid.
Who has the ability to the story
She
as
can
written
breathe on the planet.
she can breathe
She's a
underwater.
Navi.
She's because of
Exactly, Ryan.
her DNA, there will be
She's
the
a mutant.
connection to the she's a mutant.
Hybrid.
You know,
I would say hybrid.
because she's
I would
a
say
hybrid.
hybrid.
She's
Can't
the
say
one
mutant.
who
You can't say-
can't say that. Who
Well,
will
Disney
bridge
owns
the,
Avatar. They can say
Fair
mutant
enough.
if they
Fair
want.
enough.
Yeah, sure.
Fair enough.
all
I
I'm
still
saying
can't get
is,
over the fact
is
that they're
no
making
one
another
cares.
one.
No one cares about Avatar.
Nobody does.
Shazam,
No.
you know,
But they pushed Shazam
Th-
way back.
yeah, no, I'm just saying them
Yeah.
promoting that right now. Good
No,
for
it's
you. Y'all can
stupid.
promote whatever you want
Shazam
right
is
now.
gonna come after Ant-Man,
No, I'm
right?
saying
After Ant-Man,
every
yeah.
single
Yeah.
thing that's being
And we
promoted
still
right
see it.
now, everything,
crazy.
no one cares. No one cares about
Nobody gives a shit.
Mario. No one cares
Nope.
about anything
Mm-mm.
because
Nope.
the entire time there was a point in time when watching it that when people start saying, as when the next trailer would come on, it would be Wakanda forever, and it's
Yeah.
like you said, you'd had this rumbling audience, and people start chanting,
I'm
Wakanda
looking-
forever, because they were like, bring on the damn movie, meaning
I'm looking
no
at
one cares
Avatar.
about anything.
The cast of Avatar has Vin Diesel listed.
Oh,
He is Groot.
He's Groot on fucking Pandora.
I can't.
So you know what? I will say this. After I've watched Wakanda Forever like 5 more times, I want to see the Namor cut. I want to see all that extra shit. I want to see the backstory on the other side of the film. You could take, that's what, probably 40 minutes. You could just turn that into like a D+ special and
Yes,
just
you could.
give me World of Talokan or something, because
A reality
for 400
series.
years building
no, I don't
that.
need a reality series. Yeah, he's 700 years old, right?
Yeah, was it like 1500?
It's a 1500.
Oh, that was 1500. Well,
It was
I know that.
1500s.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
she says that this
This
is
is the
15
century, so the 1400s.
or 14. Well, no, they put on screen that it was the 1500s, so maybe she
Okay.
misspoke. But
Yeah.
yeah, they said 1536 or some shit like that. But anyway, y'all just go see the freaking movie.
Go
And if you
see it.
can, I spent $25 on that fucking light up tin, and
I did too.
I don't like it as much as the round tins because
Me
it kind of
either. It's
it's
flimsy.
wobbly a little bit. But I bought that bitch because I
And
didn't
it
pay
lights up.
for my ticket because I'm on A list, and so I said, "Fuck it, I'll just buy the fucking popcorn thing." Because
I was excited to see the first time we see our first trailer on screen of Ant-Man and the Wasp.
oh, I wasn't in there in time to see that.
Oh,
I mean, it was
I walked
there.
in and it was Nicole Kidman.
Oh yeah.
we didn't even
And-
get that. I was like, praise the Lord, hallelujah.
Oh,
thank you,
you-
Jesus.
Liz,
We
Oh
every
no, we
time
got
I
the
see
full.
that-
We got the full
Yeah.
length Nicole. The last two movies I saw, it was the chop Nicole. This was the full ass Nicole.
It went from the ads and it went straight into the
I-
funeral, and I was like, wait a second, do I get a this is
No.
the theater in Dolby. This is not Dolby. And then the whoosh, I got none of that. No Nicole.
Oh,
no
I
nothing.
got
We
all
just
of that
went
shit.
straight
I
into
couldn't
it. And I was
wow,
stop
like,
thinking
yes.
about the SNL sketch of him.
Oh, look,
yeah.
all I
Everybody
know
Oh
is
yeah,
that-
the
That
Nicole
was great.
Kidman.
I know that
Yeah.
you can see it in IMAX laser. Do it.
I'm
Go
gonna do
see
it.
it.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
Go see it plenty of times.
yeah, for sure,
Go
for shizzle.
go see it lots and lots. Before we close out, we cannot do so without sending our love to the family, friends, and all of the fans of the great Kevin Conroy, the man who defined Batman for a generation with some of the most superb voice work in the
Ever.
history of animation. Rest well, good sir. Job well done. With that, Anthony, my brother from another, take us out, good sir.
Good news, everybody.
McBain.
They call him Cuckoo Khan, the feather serpent god.
Dr. Liz.
Good night, everyone.
Tom is talking Cunningham.
Where is my Batman suit?
I will simply say, Wakanda forever. Good night, everybody.
Ooh, 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 ooh.